Okay, so we've just been looking at tangent, and tangent's dealing with opposite and adjacent. Today we're looking at sine, which is sin on your calculator, and cosine, which is cos on your calculator. Now they're related. What's related is that they look at your hypotenuse. Okay? So, the sine ratio is opposite over your hypotenuse, and the cosine ratio is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Right here, they're talking about angle A as your angle of interest, and that's important when you label your HOA. So label your H first by drawing an arrow from 90 degrees, then label the opposite side by drawing another arrow. The one that's left over is the adjacent. Okay? Always do it in that order. So we call these the primary trig ratios because there's other ones like secant, cosecant, and cotangent. And that's like grade 12 / university. Those are secondary. So we're just dealing with primary, and I want to use that word because they sometimes use that. So we're talking about sine, S equals O over H. Cosine is A over H, and tan is O over A. So, ka, toa. It's a little mnemonic to help you memorize it. If you ask your parents about SOHCAHTOA, 100% I guarantee it's going to bring back memories. Maybe nightmares, but still memories. Okay? So SOHCAHTOA. But do you have to memorize all of those? No. Why not? Look, it's on your data booklet. Okay? So right there, it's on your data booklet. Now, it is here written for you, but I emphasize, well, it's so much easier if you memorize it, right? Because then you can do a quick little check. And today when we're doing our work, you can just quickly write down SOHCAHTOA. Oh, SOHCAHTOA, I have O and H. Okay, that means I use sine. Or, hey, guess what? I'm talking about A, and I have to find H. That's cosine. Or, you have O and A, and you need to find an angle. Oh, that's tan. So SOHCAHTOA quickly helps you locate which ratio to use. Sine, cosine, or tangent. Okay? So let's practice a little bit as we explore sine and cosine. Find the 3 primary ratios to 4 decimals for the following. So which angle do you want to find first? G? Okay, so find the angle G. Label your HOA. So when you label your HOA, it should be labeled as H because it's across from 90, O because it's opposite, and adjacent's left over. So tan G should be what? Kaylee? Bingo. Okay. Now as a decimal then, you would go 8 divided by 15 equals 0.5333, repeating. What about sine G? Don't have to label our HOA again because we're talking about the same angle, but now we're talking about O and H. Okay, O and H right there on our ratios. So that should be what to the fraction? 8 over 17. Go to the calculator and just do a division and get 4705. Okay. And the last one, cos G. Again, same angle, same HOA. So you don't need to relabel your HOA. What is cos G? Setter? Setter, as in Carson. Bingo. Okay. And then go to your calculator and go 15 divided by 17 equals 0.823. 8823. Okay. So what we're going to do now is find the other one. Now we're going to find sine J's, or tan J first. Do we need to do a new HOA? Yo, what's up? You aren't? Are you in radians or degrees? Oh, it doesn't really matter. 8 divided by 15? Let me just check again here. 8 divided by 15 equals. You don't have to press 10 or anything. Just 8 divided by 15. You okay now? You sure, Hamza? Okay. Okay, so tan J. Do we have to relabel our HOA? No. Yes, you do. New angle, new HOA. H can stay the same because that won't switch. But according to J, now 15 is the opposite side and 8 is the adjacent. We talked about this. What's really going to happen with your fraction? Yeah, it flips. So it should be 15 over 8. Go to your calculator. 15 divided by 8 equals 1.875. Now, you can't use your calculator for the other two. You have to do the division in your head. Go. No calculators. No calculators for the next ones. Let's go. Find sine J, and then find cos J. Don't touch your calculators. Sine J, what is it? Symmetry? Can you see from back there? Yeah. Sure? Okay. Yep, Ishwar. Oh yeah, it was as a fraction though. Exactly. And we've already done that one, that's why you don't have to use your calculator. Where did we do that one already? Yeah. Right there. Okay, from cos G. What about cos J then? Is it 8 over 17? Yes, it is. So if you switch angles, guess what? You're kind of switching ratios as well, right? So there's some relationship there. Because O and E switch places. Right? That's what's happening there. So this one switches there. Don't need to know or memorize that. Just want to point out, new angle, new HOA. Okay, now you're going to do the exact same thing. Let's just find them as fractions. So let's go, what's tan L, sine L, and cos L. Label your HOA. Who thinks you have the final answer for tan L? It's a tricky one. Yeah. So it'll be 12 over 6, and you should go to 2. Okay? What about sine L? Can we find sine L? Yeah, but what do we have to do first? Pythagoras. Okay, so NL squared equals NL equals something square rooted. So square root 180. You guys okay with that? Now what you might see is for sine L, you might see 12 over square root 180. But most likely you won't. Why? What are we going to have to do to 180? Nope. You have to simplify it. Right? So see if you can take numbers out of the radical. Simplify the radical. Divide by 3, what do you get? 60. Divide by 2, you get 30. Divide by 3, you get 10. 2, you get 5. So I can take out a 2 and a 3. So that's going to be 2 times 3 times root 5, which is 6 root 5. So your first step will be 12 over 6 root 5. And that's probably where they would leave it for you guys. But could you simplify that fraction, 12 and 6? 2 over root 5. Okay? Now there's other things we can do, but we're not going to get into that. That's way, way, way above us. But 2 root 5, that would be like an honors question. Like, that's pretty intense, okay? Okay, next one, cos L. What is that? Six over root 180. So 6 over 6 root 5. Anyone want to take a guess on this? Emma? Sorry? No, because that means root 5 has to be in the top of the fraction. It's not. What happens with the 6's? They cancel to 1. So it'll be 1 over root 5. We will not write the 1 in front of root 5. Okay? So we wouldn't write this beginning one. There we go. And again, that's pretty intense. I don't think they're going to give you one like that. All right? But you never know. Okay? Most likely they're going to give you something like root 39 that you can't simplify. Okay? And that's a little more fair game. All right. Enough of fun and games. Let's get to some real work. Find angle G to the nearest tenth. So looking at angle G, label your HOA, please. H, O, and A. Now, I'm just going to real quickly write down SOHCAHTOA because I'm probably going to need it. So the question is, which ratio should you use, sine, cosine, or tangent? But look here. I have 6, which is the adjacent side, and 14, which is the hypotenuse. I have A and H. Yeah, A and H is only found in cosine. So cos G equals A over H, 6 over 14. Don't worry about reducing this. This is just rough work. So what's the next step? How do we separate the angle from cos? Move it to the other side. Cos negative 1, 6 over 14. You could use a decimal, but you don't need to. Just use a fraction. And again, I'd put brackets around it. Then go to your calculator and figure out what the value of the angle is. 6 divided by 14 equals inverse cos. 64.6, it does say the nearest tenth. 64.6 degrees. Don't forget your units. Now I'm going to choose blue for angle H. Do I have a new angle? So then I have a new HOA. Okay? So relabel your HOA. Really, if you're looking at angle H, O and A switch. Okay. So now we're dealing with the sides opposite and hypotenuse. Which one is O and H? Sine, right there in SOHCAHTOA, smacking you in the face. So sine, what should we put there in between the equal sign and sine? H. You gotta have a letter or a number there. You cannot leave that blank. Major mistake. Equals 6 over 14. Oh, if it's the same fraction, do you think they'll be the same angle? No, because the ratio is different. Okay. Go to your calculator once you wrote down your work, and it's the only way to show work. There is no other way. And 25.4 degrees. There we go. What's a quick way to check if we got this right? Yeah, what do these two have to add to? Yeah. So did we get them right? Yeah, we did. Awesome. Okay, same thing here. This time I want you to do it on your own. Okay, find angle K first, then find angle M. Go for it. Okay, which ratio should I use for K? And that's because why? Yeah, you have the opposite and the hypotenuse. So sine K equals 3 over 8. That should be your first line. K equals inverse sine -1, 3 over 8. And then you can go to your calculator, get your angle. 22 degrees. So 22.0 degrees. Okay. How many people got that one perfect? You got to have every single piece of work that I wrote exact same way. Okay. Good. Okay, find angle M, finish that off. Ooh. Lindsay, question? No, you don't. 22 is fine. I just want to emphasize the rounding that we're going to 1 decimal. Jasmine? You have to, otherwise it's wrong. Right? Because 67.97, underline the 7, the 9, look to the 7 to the right. That means it has to round up to a 10. So it has to be 68.0 degrees. And what's the other way to check that, Jasmine? That, exactly. Okay, good job. Okay, thumbs up down in the middle. What would you say? Good, 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 good. Okay, perfect. So that's just finding angles, and we're going to do lots of that. But now we're going to find side lengths as well. And you've already done that, just with a different ratio, different word. So label your HOA, looking at 38.7 degrees. We have hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. So the water bomber is 5,000 feet in the air. What's the distance between the target and the plane? So you could call that H, you could call that little d, you could call that x. Let's just call that x for fun of kicks and giggles. So what ratio should we use? Keeping in mind, we want to find the hypotenuse and we know the opposite length. Which one has O and H in it? Sin. So we're going to say sine. Now instead of, you can't leave it blank in between the sign and the equal sign. Never blank, never ever. What should we put there? Not x. We know the number. 38.7. That's the angle, so we have to write the angle there. And that's going to be opposite, 5,000, over hypotenuse x. So this is the hard question. How do we get rid of the divide by x? Times it. Good. And then, how do we get rid of this times sine 38.7? Divide. Okay, go to your calculator, find your answer. Because they're together. If you look up top, they're separate. The angle's on one side, here's the K, there's the sine. So when you split them up, it's -1. But here they're together still, so it just stays like that. Okay, good question, Jason. So 5 large divided by sine 38.7. Good, 7996.89. Now, have a look at the question. What's the best rounding for this? What unit do we just finish? Measurement. What's the best rounding for feet? Right? Because it's in feet, we should do a whole number. So 7,997 feet from the target. Okay, word problems, give me a simple sentence at the end. And by simple, I do mean simple. Okay, just to help you look at the question, reread it, make sure you are answering it properly. Any questions? Okay. Last one. We have to find the perimeter and the area. So basically, in order to find the perimeter and the area, we need to know those two sides. So let's find, label our hole first. What side do you want to find first, ML or NM? LM? Sure, find LM first. So finding LM, would you use sine, cos, or tan? Sine. Sine 25 degrees equals LM over 23.5. Okay, so it's okay to use two capital letters for sides, so we're going to practice that a little here. Okay, find LM, please. So we're going to write down 3 decimals. You can do 4 if you want, because we're not done yet, right? So you want to keep it accurate, lots of decimals. Okay. Now you don't have to relabel your HOA because we haven't switched angles. Now I want you to find side NM. Go. Find side NM. Okay, so now you can find the area. Just to let you know, that's not a pyramid, that's a triangle. So if I need a prism with it, it'd be a triangular prism, not a pyramid. Okay, so base times height divided by 2. $105.8. So it says the nearest whole number is 106. And let's use meters squared. I see my units are screwed up there, aren't they? Okay. For perimeter, that's easy. Add them all up. 23.5 plus 9.9315 plus 21.2982. And that'll be 55 meters or centimeters, whatever you like, 20 round. Okay, any questions?